or whatever is it.
Gonna have to hold her hand.
Having a hard time over here.
Okay.
No, my daughter.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to call today's Judicial and Public Safety Committee meeting. It is Thursday, February 15th. My name is Myrna Molina. I will be chairing the meeting. May I please have roll call?
Gums,
Here.
Linder, Roth,
Roth here.
Epi, Williams,
Williams here.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Molina.
Molina present.
We have an in-person quorum.
Okay, we have an in-person quorum. I don't have any remote attendance requests.
Okay, I would like us to take a moment of silence for Deputy Ruha, who passed away yesterday. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and his colleagues. We will move on. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes by consent from January 11th.
Williams will make a motion to approve the minutes by unanimous consent.
Any opposition? Okay, minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is public comment. I have a full attendance, full audience, but I don't think any public comment. So we will move on to our monthly financial reports, which are on file. Our Merit Commission is not present today, so we will move on to our KingCom. Ms. Guthrie, good morning.
Good morning. Our monthly reports are on file. I'll just keep my notes brief this morning. I will be sending out our annual report very soon. We are just finishing that up with our statistics from 2023. I do want to highlight one of our telecommunicators who's currently working at the center right now. Teresa Gonzalez just celebrated her 22 years with KingCom, which, as I've talked about in the past, is a very long career as a 911 telecommunicator. We have a very senior staff, so throughout the year, I'll be highlighting, these anniversaries throughout our monthly reports. And that's all I have this morning.
Thank you. Any questions for our Executive Director? Okay, we will move on to our emergency management.
Morning.
Morning.
Your report is on file. I don't have anything else to add besides that.
Okay, Scott, do you want to go ahead and introduce your resolution?
Yes, so this is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a new mobile operations command post for the Office of Emergency Management. The vehicle being replaced is a 2005 converted mobile home, which is end of life with many parts not available, including anti-lock brakes. If you recall, in the fall of 23, the full county board approved the use of ARPA funds up to the amount of $1,517,540 to purchase a command vehicle. Since then, purchasing rules require a competitive purchase process, so we conducted an RFP process, which happened in December 2023. We had one vendor to submit, that was LDV out of Wisconsin, and we also heard from other vendors who didn't submit, but they either couldn't meet the specs or they couldn't meet the timeline. We did a thorough review of references, 10 outside agencies all over the country, and also the Kane County Sheriff's Office. All were overwhelmingly positive of the company. The contract is the same as the county's purchasing terms. It's been looked at by the state's attorney's office, and I'm asking for approval to purchase the vehicle for the price of $1,516,126. I further request approval to add on a 4-year body and paint extended warranty for another $1,100. That brings the price to $1,517,226, which is still under the amount that the county board approved last fall.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Roth will make the motion.
Approve and potentially discuss. Mr. Roth moves.
Leonard moves seconds.
Mr. Leonard seconds. Okay, any questions or comments regarding this resolution? Hearing and seeing none, may I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes. Okay, and this will move on to executive. Congrats, Scott. I know we're really excited about getting this moving. Okay, anything else from our emergency management? Okay, we will move on to our sheriff. Sheriff Hain, good morning.
Hey, good morning. All our reports are on file as usual. I'm going to go to the first resolution so we can get to the last one. That's far more important. Would you like me to go ahead and introduce
Yeah,
that?
go ahead and introduce that
Okay.
for us, please.
So we're forming an intergovernmental agreement with McHenry County Sheriff's Office it's a reciprocal housing agreement with Kane County. The exciting backbone of this is we just received a $190,000 grant to open up what we've been pushing for the last 3 years, a true female recovery pod, because we don't have that right now. So not only are we going to have the male recovery pod, but the female, and we're looking to house both general population females and recovery pod females from all the surrounding counties that we have agreements with. So it's a really exciting new step for us.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second to discuss and potentially approve?
Gums moves.
Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Gums seconds. Okay, any comments or questions regarding this resolution? May I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes.
Passes.
Okay, and this will pass. We'll see that's again in finance and budget.
Just waiting for all my
your
fine
time.
people to come on up here to be recognized. All right, we got the corner. Great. Come on up, guys. None of them like recognition, except for the elected officials up here. So I'm honored to be joined by members of the Sheriff's Office, Coroner's Office, and CANCOM who responded to the Pratt shooting February 15th of 2019. It's hard to believe it was 5 years ago already. So what we're presenting today is a memorial resolution just to honor the 5-year anniversary, the people that lost their lives, and the brave men and women who responded to the scene. So the resolution reads, commemorating the brave service of the public servants during the response to the Henry Pratt warehouse shooting. Whereas February 15, 2024 marks the 5th anniversary of the Henry Pratt warehouse shooting. And whereas our community lost 5 innocent citizens to gun violence that day. And whereas our Kane County Sheriff's Office, with the coordination of our outstanding dispatch center, KaneCom, bravely responded to assist the Aurora Police Department without hesitation. And whereas after the situation was resolved without further loss of life, the Kane County Coroner's Office professionally responded and processed the violent scene with all due respect for victims and their families. And whereas Kane County recognizes the everlasting and indelible mark the event leaves on the minds and hearts of our dedicated first responders for a lifetime. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the Kane County Board and the Kane County Chairman thereof, that Kane County recognizes this day, February 15, 2024, in celebration of our hero first responders for the work they did that day and the work they do every day in service to our community. Thank these guys, please. I want to thank board member Anita Lewis because she really pushed this forward and put it on my radar and asked me to write this up. So Anita, thank you so much. Very important. I know that had a big mark on you that day. And it's important to note that Deputy Bruhai also responded that day. So
That makes
Thank you.
extra sad.
Can I make a comment, please?
Absolutely. Actually, can we invite you to go up there? Because I think we'd like to take a picture with you as well.
It's a good thing you're wearing black today.
Yeah, so I fit in. I feel like I got my back covered.
I just wanted to personally thank all these guys, and it's a tragic day, and later there'll be things going on in Aurora commemorating the families and the victims. But I think until you've been around these guys that go through this every day, you don't really realize how every single day when they leave their house in the morning, they don't know what's going to happen that day. You know, you leave the sun's up, the sun's not, whatever, and you don't have an idea that you may not come home that day. You might be injured that day. You might have to process a particularly brutal crime scene like this, or you might be the dispatcher that is taking those phone calls. And so, especially as it seems like every single day we're living in a more violent and world, that we have so many more mental health issues. And I cannot say enough about the bravery and how proud I am to work with these people, and also how grateful I am. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to approve?
Roth will make the motion.
Leonard seconds.
Mr. Roth and Mr. Leonard, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much, everybody. Do we need another moment? Is the committee members? Yeah, okay.
You don't normally get this many good-looking people together in a room.
Mike, do you want me to push you over?
It's not about me.
Sign that says let's.
Oh, I'm not on the committee.
I'm not a member of the committee.
You're not?
No.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
For everything, always. See you soon. Hope you guys are all doing okay.
And chaperones.
Might drop it there. For the rest of next month.
Just throw it away.
Yeah, we'll never see me. It's bad enough she's sitting on the wrong side of the room.
And now I just really need to like take sanitizer.
Okay, committee members, we're going to have to do a roll call on that resolution. So may I please have roll?
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Yes.
Roth was second.
No, we're.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Williams,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes. Okay, it's official. Okay, next item on the agenda is our coroner.
Good morning, everyone. I just really appreciate the Sheriff Hain for including us. Many times we are kind of forgotten, but not by you, but sometimes by the public. And we're right in there with all the first responders. We may be the last of the first responders, but we are first responders. So I appreciate this and the time taken today to honor those that were here and those that lost their lives. Yeah, our report is on file. As you can see, things have kind of leveled a little bit, which makes me kind of happy. That, our call volume has gone down a little bit from last year. So far this year, things have been not out of line. We're hoping that this trend continues throughout the year and that we will hopefully have less autopsies and less calls and that kind of thing, but we just don't know. Other than that, unless somebody has questions,
Any questions for our coroner? Mr. Roth?
Yes, Roth here, Mr. Russell. I've gotten some questions from some of the veterans group asking if there's a way we could start breaking out the numbers of veterans, because it's kind of a hidden number, they say sometimes, and we don't, and it's something I think we need to start tracking if that's possible.
absolutely. That's going to be something relatively simple to do because that's one of the first things we look for.
Okay.
First of all, to honor them properly.
Right.
Second of all, because their burials are covered, by the government. So that will not be difficult to do.
Okay. So I would like to request if you can do that.
Absolutely.
please. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roth. Any other questions for our coroner? Coroner Russell, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, we'll move on to our judiciary and courts.
Good morning, Andrea Bryan, Court Administrator. Judge Villa apologized, he could not be here this morning. We have nothing new to report, but I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Okay, any questions for Ms. O'Brien? Mr. Roth?
Like I've been doing the last few months, do we have any numbers yet on or regarding the Safety Act, especially costs? Because I'm hearing there's a lot of rumors floating around, or hearsay is my favorite word I use from that, and what it's costing us for the Safety Act. Because it wasn't funded by the state, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So we've been tracking different numbers for the dashboard that we
Right.
that's public
Okay.
facing, that people can look at for numbers of
Okay.
cases and things like that. Internally, I do not know if various departments are tracking their additional costs.
Okay.
That would be a question. I
Yeah.
think for every
Because to
department
me, that's the
individually.
state, that's a hidden tax because we're having to pay for it based off a law
Exactly.
they're passing. And I don't agree with that
Yeah.
process. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll move on to our state's attorney. I see Ms. Mosser online.
Thank you. Sorry I was not able to come in for the meeting today, but I am in full on trial prep. So I don't have a report. Our monthly reports for financials are on file. I'm available for questions. I did want to state that for myself and everyone at the state's attorney's office, we were reeling yesterday when we heard the news about Chris Ruhai. He was a great deputy. He was a great friend and somebody that we are very much going to miss over here. And so I wanted to say that on behalf of my office to the sheriff's department, the sheriff's office, he will be missed. I am available for questions.
Any questions for our state's attorney? Okay, hearing and seeing none. Thank you for being here. Good luck on your case.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our public defender.
Good morning. Our reports are on file. I don't have anything else to report this month. We are working on our year-end figures. Hope to have those to you all soon. Other than that, we're business as usual.
Okay, any questions for our public defender? Okay, we will move along to our court services.
Good morning. I have quite a few resolutions in front of you this morning. A lot of just housekeeping, monetary moving money around kinds of resolutions. The first thing is a resolution for the purchase of 3 replacement vehicles for our county vehicles. The scoring sheet was included in your packet that shows they're in need of replacing, and it was budgeted for. I just need to move forward in the process.
Gums will make a motion.
Williams seconds.
Okay, there's a motion by Gums, second by Williams. Any questions or comments? Okay, may I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes.
Passes.
Okay, that moves on to finance.
Thank you. The next one is a resolution authorizing budget adjustments to account for additional revenue as well as expenses for staff increases and commodities that were not budgeted for. And by way of talking about that, I want to take just a minute to point out that when we did the budget, we were asked to keep our commodities flat. So we entered them what they were without the contractual obligated increases that we experience every year. So when we did that through the budgeting process, it was not revisited to go back and increase that. So I need to increase that. And I'm also, forgive me, I'm trying to look for my, in your packet, finance. I really like these new charts, I'm just going to say. So I do want to point out that in the packet on like page 129 starts the court services section, you'll see that we were 80 or 58,000 under budget for our general fund expenses. But we were over $1 million over budget and bringing in revenue. So we brought in $1 million more than expected for revenue. We underspent by only 58,000. So last year we had some increases as well, but I didn't budget for them because it was well within our budget. But with last year's budget being, I only had 58,000 left over. I feel compelled to go ahead and change or modify the budget this year to account for that. And as well as what this money is reflected in this resolution, the additional revenue is additional revenue from the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts. Our union contract for the probation and detention officer settled last year. And so they got their raise last year. So this additional revenue recognizes that from the state of Illinois because, of course, a lot of those officers are reimbursed in full. So this is catching that up. But they also did reimburse that in full last year. They just did it without notifying us. So like for the probation salary reimbursement, you know, we expected 5.8 million. We actually received almost 6.5 million. And so that's that difference that I'm just formally putting on the books today. So for the resolution, sorry, let me find it. So for the resolution for the budget adjustment, you can see that I am doing an adjustment to recognize the addition of that $500 and almost $50,000. Of that, 324,000 I would like to be placed into the court services, various line items. And then that would result in just over 200,000 going back into the general fund because of course salaries come out of the general fund. So this is a reimbursement to the county.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second to discuss a potentially approved resolution?
Roth will make the motion.
Mr. Leonard moves, Mr. Roth seconds. Any questions, Mr. Leonard?
Not a question, Madam Chair, but a comment. With respect to the revenue that Ms. Ost brings into her area, over $1 million last year, and then the additional revenues from the state of approximately 550,000. I did just a quick calculation, and what she's asking for to cover additional expenses, which weren't really adequately supplied last year, is about a 19-to-1 improvement, revenue versus expenses. So I'll vote for this all day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard. Any other comments or questions? Okay, may I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes.
Passes.
Okay, this passes on. We'll see it again in finance. Okay.
The next resolution is for a budget adjustment in my probation fee account. So there's no impact on the general fund for this resolution. I have to modify our current case management system. We're going to do a software enhancement to the clerk's existing software system, which is Tyler Technology. My current software system is not able to meet the data requirements of the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts. And so we've been looking for additional products, and it's the software product that the circuit clerk is using and that a lot of the other justice partners are using has a component that is good for probation as well. If I go with that component, then I can meet all of my requirements through the administrative office. And hopefully our goal is to be able to integrate in a way that I can reduce keystrokes for my staff and so on and so forth. So the good news is that the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts is allowing me to pay for that out of probation fees. So there's no impact on the general fund. And because this is coming out of probation fees, the chief judge then is authorized to sign that contract because probation fees are under his control. So I'm not technically looking for your permission to do this. I'm notifying you that we are doing this and then asking for your recognition so that I can move forward with the project.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second to discuss the
Roth
resolution?
will make the motion.
Mr. Williams, any questions or comments? Mr. Roth?
So you're using the circuit court software. Will that eliminate some of the software you use, or is it just,
Yes,
all right, so there's a potential cost savings there too if you stop at some point?
it's a transfer. We'll move from. one
I
product to
understand,
another.
but
Yes,
thank you.
And it's a pretty big deal.
yes.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, may I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes. Okay, this passes on. We'll see this on executive for full board approval. Go ahead with your next one.
And then the next resolution is just notification to you of the renewal of drug and alcohol evaluation and referral services per the RFQ 33-021. Part of our statutory obligations under the statute, that's redundant, through probation and pretrial and juvenile detention is that we do things like diagnosing, substance abuses, testing for substance use, and then getting people help and treatment. So instead, there are two different models used throughout the state. In some departments, they'll do all of that in-house, but then of course I would need a lot more staff and more expertise and licensure and all that. In Kane County, we've always preferred to use our community providers because I feel like we're, really lucky to live in this geographic area. We have a ton of local providers. So I really, and I like this model where we do RFQs, we get multiple providers in the community who can provide these services, and then we get it done really rather quickly instead of having to bring it all in-house. It's a great model. So I'm looking for your approval for us to just go ahead and continue that.
Gums will move.
Okay, may I have a motion and a second? Ms. Gums makes the motion.
Roth will
Mr.
second.
Roth seconds. Any comments or questions regarding this resolution? May I please have roll call?
Gums,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes. Okay, and this passes on to finance and budget. Anything else, Ms. Ost?
I just want to make one comment that our monthly statistics are in your packet. Just a reminder that it's 2 months behind now just because of how the deadlines are hitting with the committee. So that's in your packet. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, any questions? No, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Pereiro.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to just talk about a few things in my report. First, I wanted to say our monthly report's on file, but please notice that we've added some training in overtime and bond call hours to our report. We do not have the numbers on what that cost is yet because it varies on who's doing it, correct? But for regular training hours, we had 219.75 training hours. Now, what we're trying to do at the circuit clerk's office is, that's okay, cross-train everyone, because you know how we had such a problem getting employees as deputy clerks. So we've done a lot of cross-training and we're trying to keep track of that going forward. I do not have the dollars, like I said. Overtime hours for last month, well, it would have been for December, I correct myself, was 137.5 overtime hours. Premium overtime hours was 12.5. Weekend bond call was 66.5. Now, remember, weekend bond call changed, the amounts changed in December to $45 an hour for regular bond call. And then if they work a premium holiday, which is Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and the 4th of July, it's $75 an hour. And the minimum is 3 hours. So that is a union contract. I just wanted to let you all know, I know Mr. Roth was asking dollars. I'll have more information going forward. We, as you all like to know about collections, in December, we collected $89,025. For that month, they sent 1,010 cases to collections, which if they would have got the total assessment for those would have been $675,000. So we got 89,000. So that's going down. There's a lot of legislation out right now that we don't know how much we're going to be able to recoup from collections going forward, but we're following all that legislation. Let's see here. In August, we upped our case management system to 2022, which was great because when I started, it was at 2016, and that was a big issue, correct? So we got the integration up to 2022, but then they realized we could not get court services on board with the project that they were working on. So now we are upgraded to 2023, and we're moving along so we could get court services added on. We could not do that unless we were at 2023. So that's why we're moving so quickly through it. You know, when that happens, of course, other things don't work. So it's you know, it's a work in progress, and I just ask everybody to be patient. It seems to be going pretty well because when you do it year after year, it's a lot smoother than trying to jump 5 years. So it's things that were broken in 2016 are either obsolete or nobody has any idea how to fix those. So we've been working, my staff is phenomenal. Everybody knows Monica Lawrence. She's our hero. If any of you take her from me, I will find you. Is, you know, a brain when it comes to this. And with that said, we got Defendant Access. It's a new program that we will be installing, and it's for individuals to be able to look up their cases on a kiosk. Now, I've talked about kiosks in the past, and Andrea knows we're all working on kiosks at the Judicial Center, but they're very costly, and it'd be a great idea, but it's not feasible with my budget. It's totally impossible. So with Defendant Access through Tyler, we got it free. We're a pilot program. We're not sure when they're going to install it. We just started talking about this in December. With that, we do get a kiosk. We're trying to determine where we should put it. We don't want to put it in a place where they're already going to be, there's already circuit clerk offices in buildings like 3rd Street and the Judicial Center. So we're looking at other locations that folks would go to, maybe a library, you know, something like that. So that they're not intimidated in going into and checking on a case or checking when their court date is and that. I would love to have something where they could pay on that kiosk, but that's up in another huge conversation that took hours, and then I walked away very sad. So it's not a big thing that IT likes to deal with because, you know, ATMs and thefts and et cetera. So it's something that would be taking two entirely different electronic devices and merging them. So that's a whole nother subject going forward. But with this Defendant Access program, they're going to install all new credit card machines in the courtrooms for us. And we're going to, which would save us about $70,000 right there. We are going to remove the credit card machines from the civil courtrooms since they really don't use them. And we're going to focus on just the criminal courtrooms. So hopefully, we'll be able to recoup a few bucks here and there with those, but we always send folks to the branch offices for payments and that to keep the courtrooms moving. If we had 2 clerks in every courtroom, it'd be a lot easier to have somebody collecting the dollars right there, but it is a disruption to the judge and it has never gone over really well. So also keep that in mind because that's been something I've talked about from day one. Why can't they just collect the money here while they're standing right here? Well, we can't do that. So, I have my 2 hats on, my fiscal hat and my empathy hat, and it's sometimes the fiscal hat takes over and my empathy hat doesn't. But yeah, that's about it right now. If anybody has any questions, you can give me a call, email.
Any
whatever.
questions for our circuit clerk? I'll start with Mr. Roth and Mr.
I
Leonard.
actually have 2.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Leonard, you can go first.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Roth. I just wanted to make a comment, Ms. Barrera, on her report about collections. Even though there were 1,000 items sent, over 1,000, and the total amount that was due was, I believe, about $680,000. Collections were at over 12%, which is historically high. So it's very good. So thank you very much.
We've got a whole team working on it. So thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Roth, go
Okay,
ahead.
First question is regarding collections too. The report is saying its current status. Do you have an aging report,
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
would
then,
you like-
because, can you provide that? Because, things age out and at some point we got to write them off. And
Right.
some of those percentages are important to see.
Yes. I know they've been trying to put a report together. It's kind of hard because cases will, the dollars go out to several agencies, not just us.
Right.
So a lot of times when we get the dollars back, even though it looks small or whatever, but it could have been, much more for the other agencies that are also
No,
to
I
get it.
understand.
Because if you look at one of these sheets, there's a breakdown of all the agencies that get the dollars. It's actually the first sheet I have right here. So, we are working on that. It is a task, but we'll try and get that.
Okay. And then the other is regarding the payments.
Mhm.
And there again, I'm not the IT expert, so, but there are virtual payment methods out there, like
Yes,
examples.
we use them. We
Okay.
use some of them, yeah.
Well, like example Square, you don't need the credit card machine. You can actually have a link on your kiosk that would take them to Square and they can do it virtually
Right,
and you're not investing in the hardware at all.
correct.
Now, IT has to make the call on security and
Right.
fraud, but also, and you pay a small transaction fee.
Right.
And there's several of those available.
Yes, we have looked at those. But I would really like something that takes cash because a lot of folks don't have a card.
I understand.
And that's where
And that was going to be my other question. What % is cash versus check versus
right,
credit?
that's my dilemma.
I understand.
Nobody wants us to
Right.
take cash.
And
They
that's
break
a
down,
reality, right?
Right, it's reality. And, do you want to go to a kiosk and pay your $10,000 in cash?
Yeah. no,
So, it's reality, but, small amounts, it'd be
Yeah.
more feasible, traffic tickets, whatever,
Um,
but yeah, that's.
What
been a
%
thought.
is cash currently?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
That I'd have to find out.
Okay. It'd be interesting to know because then that
Yeah,
kind of tells you the priority of addressing that.
yeah, I'd have to find out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all.
Any other questions for our circuit clerk? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on. Any old business to discuss? May I have a motion and a second to place reports on file?
Roth to make a unanimous motion to put the reports on file.
Okay, any opposition? Okay, reports are placed on file. We have no need for executive session. I didn't have anybody signed up for public comment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Roth will make the motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
Roth moves.
Second.
Mr. Williams second.